Isn't there anyone who knows what Christmas is all about?
How nice, the gift that keeps on sucking.
Can we take a direct flight back to reality, or do we have to change planes in Denver?
Well, I don't know what to say except Christmas, and we're all in misery.
Bah! Humbug!
I win official Red Undercover next to you and Joanne Ball Aaron.
No, shoot your eye out.
Only one thing in the world could have dragged me away from the soft glow of electric sex gleaming in the window.
Merry Christmas, darling.
Merry Christmas, Jaja, darling.
Can I refill your eggnog for you? Get you something to eat? Drive you out to the middle of nowhere? Leave you for dead?
Now, we agreed this morning that we was going to open up our presents in order and not helter-skelter like maniacs.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Kiss my ass. Kiss his ass. Kiss your ass. Happy Hanukkah.
I was wrong when I told you that, Susie. You must believe in Mr. Kringle and keep right on doing it. You must have faith in him.
Jack the homeless Ra-ra-ra-ra-ra-ra-ra-ra.
250 strands of light, 100 individual bulbs per strand for a grand total of 25,000 imported Italian lights.
Thanks for the Christmas card you sent me, Violet. I didn't send you a Christmas card, Charlie Brown. Don't you know sarcasm when you hear it?
And I want to look him straight in the eye, and I want to tell him what a cheap, lying, no-good, rotten, fork-flushing, low-life, snake-licking, dirt-eating, inbred, overstuffed, ignorant, blood-sucking, dog-kissing, brainless, dickless, hopeless, heartless, badass, bug-eyed, stiff-legged, spotty-lipped, worm-headed sack of monkey shit he is! Hallelujah! Holy shit! Where's the Tylenol?
And now, your host for the evening, Shaggy, Nate, and Colin.
Good evening, everybody. No, Nate.
I am not Nate.
Yeah, sorry. It said that, and I'm like, oh, yeah, this is a long time ago.
That's 2040, I think you said?
I think, but it could be older than that, to tell you the truth. But yeah, I'm like, oh, we should play the Christmas intro. And then I'm like, oh, yeah, this is really old.
Well, you know, if
really
I had
old.
time, I'll put it on the list for next year to have a new Christmas theme made. How about that?
Yeah, that works.
As long as it has the Christmas Vacation rant.
Yeah.
That's all that really matters.
Oh, it absolutely will, of course.
Which is the best Christmas rant ever. Welcome, everybody, to PTR Radio here on the fabulous interweb. You can get a hold of us if you want at PTR Radio on Twitter or Facebook, or you can call the show 217-787-0232. Again, that's 217-787-0232. Don't pay any attention to our old number. It probably goes to some dial-a-hooker. So, you know, we got rid of it because it was too expensive for no one to call.
And, you know, in 2018, nearly 2019.
Yeah, I don't think we need toll-free numbers anymore.
You don't pay for long distance.
No.
It's just phone calls.
Exactly. Nobody pays for long distance.
And nobody even changes their phone number anymore. They just move around to keep the same number.
Which is really irritating sometimes.
Yeah.
It is a pain in the butt occasionally. Because, like, my sister-in-law calls me and it says, North Carolina call. Oh, yeah, she lives in Maryland. But it still says North Carolina call. So, this is our pre-Christmas episode because none of us felt like getting together on Christmas Eve, which is when our normal regular show would have been. My wife categorically said, no, you're not doing a show on Christmas Eve.
You know who got our old number?
Who?
Some restoration service because it spells out Rust Tab.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's better
yes, this is what I do with my spare time.
Mm-hmm. You know, we should give it like a couple more months and then call it. We should just set up an auto dialer to call it as a fax machine all the time, because that's what other people did to us. So, why not?
Between the fax machine and
No, the other one we all had was, your conference has not yet begun. Please hold while your host connects to the line.
Yeah.
2 minutes of that all the time. It's ridiculous. So, this is the time when we kick off the Christmas spirit, and nothing is more Christmas than Hallmark movies. So later on in the evening, you're going to hear us announce, because we got the heads up because we have an inside person at Hallmark Channel. Not many shows can say that they have a mole inside the Hallmark network. That's right, Candace Cameron Bure is a cousin of Mike the Ape Man. And so she let us know some of the movies that Hallmark is coming out with before Christmas.
That's right. The 600 that are in production.
Yes. So, we will be able to tell you some of the synopses of some of the upcoming Hallmark shows before there's even trailers or advertisements for them on TV. Some of the people at Hallmark don't even know that these movies are being made yet or have been made. But thanks
Colin,
to your cousin.
I'm scared. I'm scared at what he's got up his sleeve here.
But I know Shaggy is the one who's stuck watching all of these Hallmark movies here at the Shag House. So,
watching,
I feel
archiving.
less worried.
Listen, Kim has been down here working diligently, and she came down here the other day and said, "Why is this TV not on the Hallmark Channel?" Excuse me. She, side note, anybody who is friends with her on Facebook, listen, Russian hackers, go find somebody else to try and hack their Instagram.
Oh, no.
This is twice in 24 hours that they have tried to hack her Instagram. Luckily, she has the two-factor authentication on, and she's been on top of it. But as I said to her, look at the bright side. If the business wasn't on fire, they wouldn't care about you.
That's right.
So this is a badge of honor that you have hit the radar.
That Putin himself wants to, tank your slice of democracy.
Your business is going to be taking over the office space formerly occupied by the Trump Foundation. That's how big you've gotten.
That's right. A Trump Hotel Moscow is looking out for her interests. Which, by the way,
you didn't hear about this?
No.
The Trump Foundation folded.
No, I did not hear that.
It's folding. It's in the process of being a judge overseeing the taking all the money and giving it away to approved charities. Approved by the judge, not approved by Trump.
Yes.
Before we get to that, I do want to just cover one thing real quick. That's because I've been getting some friend requests on Facebook. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to give a blanket statement. I am not very active on Facebook. I tend not to approve friend requests. So if you watch the show and you do a friend request to my show, do not be surprised if I just ignore it. Because I have lots of ignored friends requests. I don't approve them. I don't reject them. They just kind of sit there.
Yeah.
And it's not because of you.
Colin's more of a Google Plus man. That's where he hangs most of his time.
I just don't. I don't want to remember who is on the Facebook. It's just basically just some family.
Yeah. So if you want to get a hold of him, just post on the PTR page.
Yes.
We'll make sure that he sees it. But a lot of people were telling you happy birthday.
Oh yeah.
So that was good. They were speaking of Trump. Did anybody see the It's a Wonderful Life Trump cold open of Saturday Night Live this last week?
Yes.
You could have just said, "Did anybody watch Saturday Night Live?" and ended it there, and I'd be like, "No."
Well,
I'll watch the clips on when they go up on YouTube. That's about it.
Well, and that's why I watched the clip of this, and it was amazing the number of stars that they pulled out for this little clip.
Oh yeah.
Because it was the It's a Wonderful Life storyline, but with Trump never being president.
Oh, okay.
So
interesting.
It was a pretty good storyline, and like Robert De Niro was in it.
Robert De Niro plays Mueller. Yeah,
and
he was thanking Trump because he got to spend more time with his grandson because he didn't have to investigate anybody.
Let's see here. Who all was in that?
Ben Stiller plays Michael Cohen.
Yep, and they also had the guy from Good Will Hunting. What the hell? Matt Damon was in it.
Well, he was the host.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. So, and of course they had Alec Baldwin playing Trump, and it was well done. It was well done. I watched that one skit, and it was well done.
So maybe it's just me. I'm getting tired of all the political comedy, but there's part of me that says, you know what? If you're going to do an impression of Trump, and I know some folks probably, I could hear you guys saying it, that it's funnier because of it, but if you're going to do an impression that's making fun of Trump, don't openly be a Trump hater. Try and stay neutral about it. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
Yeah, I think any impersonation is going to exacerbate the characteristics of the person you're impersonating, no matter what they are. So for Trump, you're gonna play up when he says, "Well, we have the bestest, or we have the biggest, or we have the mostest." And I mean, it's
there's definite merit, I think, Mike, to what you're saying. I think partially it's a reaction from SNL to what had happened back during the actual election when they had Trump hosting. And to some degree, they have overcompensated for that.
Well, and I think they're trying to appeal to a certain audience, which is anti-Trump.
Yeah, I mean, it's their audience is anti-Trump, so they're going that way too. I will say though, for that episode of Saturday Night Live, that is not the funniest thing that they did that night.
Yeah, I haven't watched all the skits because I'm like Mike. I only watch what hits the news blurbs, as the best points.
So the funniest thing they did that night was at the end of Weekend Update. They did this segment where, so it's Colin Jost and Michael Shea. Anyway, so they did this thing where they were giving each other jokes for Christmas that the other had not actually read before. And so they had to read these jokes on air from the teleprompter cold. And the jokes that Colin Jost had to read were just absolutely hilarious just because a black guy made him read them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, that's not my idea of a good time. That's too dangerous.
It'd be way too dangerous for us. That is for darn sure.
That's not a good thing.
There's definitely some tightrope walking there.
Mm-hmm.
But it would be they walked the tightrope. It was hilarious.
Yeah. So
as long as nobody takes those clips out of context,
which is a favorite game people play.
Oh, of course.
So, Mike, we saw it in the last show. You had a lot of boxes behind you, in addition to the soda. It appeared like maybe you had a project going on, and we didn't have time to talk about it. So can you bring us up to date on what you were doing? Maybe not, because maybe we lost Mike. We did.
That's the "Are you kidding me?" I see that now.
All right. Let's try this again. There, Mike. Hello?
Really?
Yes. You were looking so stoic, and I was just like, maybe he's just, deep in thought. So
we're now going to talk about the thing that in the next episode might keep that thing that just happened from
happening again. So as I was saying, Mike, you had a lot of boxes behind you in addition to the soda on the last episode because you're embarking on a major project. And we didn't get to talk about it because we ran out of time on the last episode. So why don't you bring us all up to date on what your project is and how it's going?
So I decided after that we were having such difficulties, started going down the rabbit hole of updating my computer, which, at the time, I built it 7 years ago. So the components were all... It was doing fine for what I needed it to do, but the components were aging and... It'd been through so many iterations. I was like, all right, you know what? What started as an upgrade wound up turning into a completely new build.
Right.
And I said, you know what? 7 years, I can justify this. It'll be another 7 years before I get serious about building something new, and by then I'll probably be so tired of it that I'll just buy something.
Yeah, because there are those people out there that update every year or two. But, we pretty much are on at least a 6 year cycle. Well, Colin updates a heck of a lot more often. But, Mike and I
mostly laptops though.
Mike and I hold on to things for a long time because we're desktop folks, and it's just really expensive when you're gutting and replacing everything. Because at least for me, I don't do incremental updates. I may add a stick of RAM or something like that, but I for the most part I build a machine as good as I can afford it, and then I just live with it for a while until something else forces me to update.
Exactly. So what happened was, and I discovered this when Kim's desktop computer failed. You look at a new processor. Well, a new processor means you got to get a new motherboard because, of course, the sockets are changed along with it. A new motherboard means you got to get new RAM because the old RAM is not compatible.
Yep.
And at that point, you're just like, you know what? Let's just bite the bullet.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. And I did a lot of consulting with the guys about what getting some advice and trying to stay within a budget. So when I was posing this to Kim, the first thing I did was I showed her the motherboard that I was considering. This particular model is an ASRock Taichi. Taichi is what she calls the puppy.
Oh, there you go.
I was able to tug at the heartstrings a little bit there. And I was debating back and forth between going with AMD or Intel and so long story short, I wound up going with an i5 processor. Colin talked me into M2 hard drive, double the RAM of what I had. Shaggy kind of talked me into an all-in-one liquid CPU cooler. What else did I do here? At that point, I was like, well, you know what? I'm just going to get the new video card, too. So I got the video card. Which the irony is, after all of this, Skype crashed in half the time that it did on the old machine. I did not think Skype was going to crash for me at all because it's a fresh install of everything.
Okay, so you're actually running on the new machine tonight?
I am running on the new machine tonight.
Okay, I thought you were still going to run on the old machine tonight, so that's why I was questionable. So, all right.
No, I'm on the new machine.
Okay.
The old machine is laying powerless behind me.
Okay.
The one thing that I actually did a replacement today because the part arrived. I had a Sound Blaster sound card. Now, some of you will be like, well, why is he using a separate sound card? Well, because vegan, all right? I don't know.
Because some of us still like multiple sound cards in our machines, No,
it's not even multiple. Yeah. I just prefer having a separate sound card with separate controls and drivers that are not dictated by the motherboard.
Yeah.
And I have plenty of room in the case, so that's not an issue.
Yeah.
But the Sound Blaster sound card that I had here that was originally going to go into the old machine, Creative apparently got rid of the what you hear or stereo mix option in their drivers for recording.
I think Windows got rid of that as a whole.
No, because I replaced it with an Asus sound card, which is the same brand as I had in the old machine. Mm-hmm. The old machine was a PCI card, and I had to get it. I don't have PCI slots. I have PCI Express, so I had to get it new. And yes, stereo mix is there.
Oh, okay.
So it is driver specific. It is not Windows specific.
Okay.
Windows will disable it, but they don't, or make it, Windows may disable it by default, depending on the card.
Right.
But on a lot of them, you can re-enable it.
Ah, okay.
So that was done today. Everything was moved because the tower used to be down on the floor.
Yeah.
It was imperative that the computer got off the floor for two reasons. One, the case has the power supply on the bottom.
Yeah.
And when you have animals in the house, having any kind of fan on the bottom where the dust bunnies collect is bad. Two, those doors back there is the utility closet, a.k.a. the water heater. So God forbid the water heater breaks again.
Yeah.
The PC is safe. But yes, it's actually up at this level on steel shelving. So the thought process here that also swayed me to spend the little extra money to go Intel instead of AMD was so that we could get away from Skype.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
So hopefully in the next episode we'll be using a different product to connect our two shows, our two studios, and we'll see how that goes. We couldn't use it before because Mike's old processor didn't support it. That is one of the things about running on old hardware. Sometimes you just can't do certain things, and I found that out as well with some of the stuff I was doing. So sometimes you need that newer hardware to make it work.
Yep.
So
now the pain in the ass about it all is going and hunting down all the product keys, drivers and software and all of that stuff, reinstalling all of that and copying everything over, which is now remedied because all of the stuff that I would like files, documents, whatever that I would copy over is now on a second hard drive that's in here. Was smart about that.
Yeah,
but yeah, so that was a pain in the ass.
And the weirder things too, like. Because you have that M2 drive, then there's a special driver, the NVMe driver, to make the drive faster.
Yeah.
Weird stuff.
So, you were going through building a new computer. Meanwhile, our oldest grandson was not happy with the performance of his computer during gaming. Okay? So he said he wanted parts for his computer for Christmas. So I'm like, okay, well, do you have that in an Amazon wish list? Because it would be easier for me to look at that way. He said, yeah, I have one. I'll send you a link. So he sends me a link. I went over this a little bit with Colin beforehand, but here are some of the things on his list. Okay? So we have a case, a gaming case. Okay? A ASRock motherboard, which is clearly a dual processor Xeon motherboard for a server. Another single, this time, Xeon server level Supermicro motherboard. Another computer case, standard mid-tower, a 1 terabyte SSD, regular NAND flash, drive.
Old style drive.
Old style, the 2.5-inch style.
Might as well spin.
Another gaming case, this time green, a little flashier. A 4K 28-inch monitor from Samsung. 32 gigs of DDR4 memory that don't fit the motherboards that were spec'd earlier. Oh, this time, a motherboard, a Z370 motherboard. The memory he spec'd before will actually fit in this. An i7-8700K processor that by itself costs $370, but doesn't include any cooling because it's the K model. Oh, look, another case. Loves cases. Oh, finally, some DDR3 memory that might have worked in those other motherboards, except for this isn't server-grade memory, so it won't. A 3D printer, because every gamer needs that. A GTX 1080.
He's in a 3D printer so he can print a case instead of having a case.
Instead of having four of them. You go. A 2 terabyte spinning black Western Digital drive, and then a USB-powered soundbar. So, I saw this list. And then I texted him and I said, almost nothing you have on your list works together. And most of it isn't meant for gaming. So, and it's all really expensive and the wrong stuff. So I thought, okay, well, what can I get him because we're not spending, a ton on him. We usually have a cap of about $100 per kit. All right. That's where we leave it at. So I'm like, what can I get him that we could move what he has into or, augment with that wouldn't be throwaway if he ever decided to upgrade? Because I know right now he's got a second generation in i5. It takes DDR3 memory. So my thoughts were, all right, well, the two things I know I could get him that he wouldn't be throwing away is a case and a power supply. Because right now he's running on a desktop level machine, so there's no room for a bigger, for a full-size graphics card. And even if there was, it's a proprietary power supply, so it wouldn't be able to run a full-size graphics card. So I'm like, all right, I get you a really nice case, a gaming case, and then I get you a good 80 series gold power supply, modular, and now you've got the bones to build up from there. So, that's what he's actually getting, is the bones that he can then build around. Because, as we found, the POWOC power supply, all right, had it for 10 years. It's still running one of the machines. You get a really good one of those, you're never getting rid of it. All right? I didn't get him a POWOC. I couldn't find him anymore. I would have, but I can't find them.
I was actually going to say one of those water cooling systems might be a good throw-in if you had the money.
Except for I don't know that it would have fit on his processor as it sits today. And so I wanted something that he could use today and would still be there tomorrow.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So, but no, I was thinking along those lines too. I thought, well, an H60, something like what Mike got, would be good. But he's not, you can't really overclock what he has today. That would require it, so.
Oh, and let me just give you a little insight about this H60.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That was possibly, two things about it. One, is possibly the most difficult part or frustrating part of my install.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because I didn't realize, like, the mounting bracket that goes behind, the backing plate that goes behind the motherboard. It took me about 15 minutes of huffing and puffing to realize that the nuts slide. Because the thing looks kind of like an X, right?
Right. Yep.
And fits on 4 posts. Took me about 15 minutes to realize that those things slide to adjust to fit into the holes. I'm sitting there, I'm like, don't fit that way. Okay, don't fit that. Not fitting. I'm turning it 90 degrees for about 20 minutes. Like, it's not fitting. What am I supposed to do here? Maybe I'm using the wrong standoffs. Maybe I use the standoffs to screw right into the mother. No, those are not. No, it's this one. Two, I'm neurotic about this now. Because I can't physically see a fan turning, paranoid that this thing's not cooling. So I have a stupid little app running.
That's showing you your temperatures.
That's showing me my temperatures.
And they're low.
And number 3, hovering. I haven't pushed it, obviously, because, look, I don't game, all right? I don't need anything really for gaming, but they've been, the highest I've seen so far is 45 degrees.
Which is good.
Celsius. Usually hovers around 40 during the day. The graphics card, this is actually the most load that the graphics card has seen, and that's hovering around 44. Yeah. The other thing is this radiator.
Yeah.
Figuring out where to mount that and getting it to fit, that was a little bit of a...
That can be the most stressful part. That and those screws for that are the bolts are so long. Trying to fish them through all the holes that they have to go through and then get them in there, right? That can be difficult.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But once it's done, isn't it nice how quiet everything is?
Yes, the loudest part is the old mechanical drives that I transplanted from the old machine. Instead of copying 1.5 terabytes of data. I actually copied about 200 gigs of data via my attached network drive, copied it up and then copied it down. And after 4 hours, and I realized, well, wait a minute. Why can't I just pull the drive and move the drive? I have like 32 SATA ports over here.
Yeah, exactly.
Not like you got to pick and choose. I mean, I had a DVD burner and a Blu-ray drive in there, but only the DVD burner was hooked up. Why? Because I needed the SATA port for another hard drive.
And let me say, looking for cases, it seems like the days of the internal 5 1/4 drives are numbered.
Yeah.
Because it was very difficult to find cases with, in fact, I ended up picking him one that doesn't have any front bays at all, you know? If he wants to use a DVD drive, he's got to get a USB 3, enclosure for it or something.
Or just a USB 3 drive.
Yeah, I mean, I have 2 front 5 1/4s on this case, which is a Corsair case. I bought this on Prime Day, and it's been sitting in a box over there for a long time. If you go back months and months, you'll see it was sitting there. And it actually, I was like, I thought about getting a new burner, and I'm like, no, you know what? I have the USB one from my laptop, because laptops with with optical drives are becoming fewer and far between.
Yes, they are.
So I'll just hook that up if I need to. It's got a dozen USB 3 ports and some 3.1 ports and a Type C port. And I'm not even hooked up wired to the LAN, because the Wi-Fi built in on the motherboard is actually getting the same speed test ratings that the wired one was getting.
Yeah. So here, I will show you.
Thermal tape. Those are nice.
All right. So this is actually the one that I got him. So I like this because the new trend is tempered glass side panels.
Yes.
And then this bottom shroud here, which I think does give it a nice look. But it still does have, nice spots for SSDs and a top-mounted radiator with removable filters. It's got a couple of USB 3s. So, I was happy with that. And it doesn't come with all these fans. It comes with one fan. I wish it came with all these fans because they do look really cool. But, with that semi-transparent front cover, but boy, these fans are expensive.
Oh, yeah.
A 3-pack of fans, $60.
Yes. I looked into them because, of course, once I power it up, they're all right. So the pump on the H60 lights up.
Yeah.
The motherboard has LEDs built into it. Why? I don't freaking know. My RAM, not that I had planned on it, it just happened to be a deal. My RAM has RGBs, LEDs on it.
Yeah.
And I'm looking, I'm like, I moved the fan that they had in the back. I had to move the exhaust fan so I could mount the radiator to the top, and I put the fan in the front as an intake, so I have, through flow or whatever, however you want, static pressure, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? An LED fan would look nice up there. The board's got RGB headers. I can control the fan. And not that you'd really see it, but yes. And I realized computers have turned into the Honda Civics of the gaming world.
Or the Golf GTIs. Take your pick.
There's no reason for all of this RGB stuff. The options are ridiculous.
You can get RGB fans on your power supply that no one will see because you put a shroud over it.
Yes. Now I will say I did order an RGB light strip that is compatible with my motherboard. Just because it does look dark, but I do want to add a little something to it.
Yeah.
The other thing.
That way, when you go to LAN parties, you can really rave out.
Yeah, because I go to LAN parties. Yeah. The other thing, this particular motherboard, you remember the old school BIOS where you'd have to count the number of beeps and then look it up in the manual to see what was wrong.
Oh, this one's got an A7 or 2-digit little thing, and then you just look up the code, and boom, there it is.
Oh yes, which was another OCD disaster for me. Because I'm sitting there looking at the codes, and I'm like, why is that not coming up? Now I got to look up the code. What's that code mean? I got to look up that code.
Well, and now the motherboards, instead of just shorting out some pins to turn it on and off, now they've got a power and a reset button on the damn motherboards, or at least mine does.
There's a clear CMOS button on the back.
No, back in my day, we had to just take the battery out for 10 minutes.
Well, so for the first time in my life, of almost 45 years, I've had computers for at least 30 of these years. The first time in my life. Today, I updated a BIOS.
I know. It's crazy, isn't it?
And the BIOS update eliminated
a problem?
The showing of the BIOS debug codes on this display. But nobody told me that when I looked at the BIOS. Like, what was fixed? I thought something got broken. Now it just flashes random numbers as it's booting up, which doesn't mean a damn thing because it's a snapshot moment in time. It's just a status code as things are loading. What also makes me mad about it is that was the only thing in there that was red.
What you're saying is they should really make RGBW status indicators.
It just screwed up my mojo, is what it did. Now, when I told you guys last week about the parts after we went off air, Colin had mentioned that the spec on the M2 hard drive that I got was like 100 times faster throughput than the Samsung SSD I had in the old machine.
Yep. I don't remember exactly what number I gave, but yes, it was supposed to be faster.
It was, yeah. Okay. So here's what I'm going to tell you. It probably is.
Yeah.
For most things, it's not measurable or comprehensible by my senses. Even the SATA, old school 2.5 SATA SSD drive that I put in there for storage, even that is twice as fast because the SATA ports on this are 6 gigabit or gigabyte. I'm an engineer, but I don't care. 6 gig versus the 3 gig that was on that one. So right there, I'm seeing improvement. The most mystifying thing is how fast a reboot is.
Oh, yeah.
Here's the other reason why I was looking at upgrade. That old machine, Silverback as it was named, was actually, if I rebooted, I would occasionally get boot disk error, try again. Boot disk error, try again. And it would take me 20 minutes to actually get it to reboot. This machine, from the time the Windows logo pops up to the time I'm logged on and ready to go, 7 seconds.
Yep.
So that is where I am noticing speed. Anything else? Not really. Although I can play a game on one monitor, a stupid Flash game, and have Facebook open on the other, which seemed to be a problem at one point.
Yeah. So
it makes a humongous difference to me as a programmer because with modern programming, where we're doing stuff with these web things, so there's this thing. It brings down software that you need to do your applications, okay? This thing brings down like 5,000 files on your hard drive.
Yes. No, he doesn't. He doesn't listen. No family member listens. It's just the way it is.
So I just got a new machine at work. It did not have an SSD, okay? I would say, okay, I want to run my program and see if it works. I would hit run, and it would take about 6 minutes for the program to start so that I can get up and running. Today, I had the exact same SSD you just bought. Stick it in there. I hit run. 3 seconds later, it's running.
Yeah.
So we got a whole bunch of files like I'm running with, and especially next show, if we get that other thing going, it may make a big difference on the processing behind the scenes.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will. I mean, look, in no way, shape, or form am I disappointed.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I know.
It's just I don't know if I have it in me to do this again. If somebody asked me to build them a machine, okay, here's your budget, go build me a machine. Fine, I will do that. And once it's built, it's your problem.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking about it, like this Dr. Debug display thing. If my father-in-law saw that, oh, forget it. I'd be getting emails every 20 minutes. It showed F6. What does that mean? I don't know. It showed A4. What does that mean? A4 is reserved for future use. Well, okay, what else could it be?
I don't know. I'll tell you in the future.
See, I'm actually out of this myself. It's like the last computer I built is my media machine, and this is actually an Intel Nuke. My building it was open it up and stick the M2 SSD into it, and then close it back up again. It was built.
All right.
So it's funny you say that because I was actually looking at one of those to kind of replace this and turn into a Plex server. But anyway.
That is my Plex server.
Yeah.
All right. So thanks to Mike's cousin, Candace Cameron Bure, we now have kind of like the details for some of the next Hallmark Christmas movies. So, some of the ones coming up, all right, just to give you an example. Clumsy TV personality is unhappy because she is so overworked she's missing out on her favorite season of the year. Everything changes when she meets a intelligent painter who doesn't realize his own talent. While they're both at the airport, through crazy circumstances and with a little help from a lovable dog, she soon discovers that your Christmas past doesn't have to take away from your Christmas present. You can look for that one coming up, starring Lori Loughlin. All right? Now, next up on the Hallmark Christmas Countdown, from, and I forget what's the girl's name who was the middle Tanner daughter?
Jodie Sweetin.
Yeah, Jodie Sweetin. She's going to start doing some Christmas movies now. She plays the awkward veterinarian who's unhappy because she never went after her dream job and now believes it's too late. But everything changes when she meets a blundering friend she hasn't seen since childhood, while they're both involved in a funny mix-up at a coffee shop. Through crazy circumstances and with a little help from a snarky elf assigned to her case by Santa, she soon discovers that sometimes life isn't always, sometimes the life you always dreamed of isn't the life you truly needed.
All right, listen. Stop playing Mad Libs.
No.
That's exactly what this sounds like.
No, because next up, Jewel is going to star as Jewel, the
She's
singer.
Canadian. They don't celebrate Christmas.
Yes, they do. In fact, she plays the strong-willed party planner who's unhappy because she made a Christmas wish that went very wrong.
And got used in a Gillette commercial.
But everything changes when she meets a funny business owner who offers her the job of her dreams.
And says he'll fix her snaggletooth.
While they're both moping around at a karaoke bar and get pressured into singing a Christmas duet.
Maybe it's cold outside.
Through some crazy circumstances, however, and with a little help from a special child, she soon discovers the true meaning of Christmas. Also starring Corky. All right.
Okay. Give me another one.
You can look for all these coming up soon. Also coming is Cher, is coming back to TV. I bet you didn't know that. Cher signed up to do a special Christmas movie with Hallmark. One time only. She plays the sassy teacher who is unhappy because she is so overworked and missing out on her favorite season of the year. But everything changes when she meets a troublesome photographer covering the town's big Christmas parade.
Played by Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
While they're both entered in a Christmas ice skating competition, through some crazy circumstances and with a little help from the sister she never appreciated, she soon discovers that sometimes success isn't as important as following your heart. Who knew she still had acting chops?
Okay, here we go. Legitimate question.
Of course they do.
Do Hallmark movie watchers also like romance novels?
Well, duh.
Well, Mama Blair, I'm going to tell you this. My wife watches, as you may have listened, she watches Hallmark movies a lot. And she laughed her way through the 50 Shades trilogy when she read them. So take that for what it's worth. Now, I did sit and watch a Hallmark Christmas movie. Mm-hmm. And at first I thought you were going to be serious about it because it did have Jodie Sweetin in it.
Was it by chance the one that also starred Sarah Gilbert, where she is a cheerful artist who's unhappy because her travel plans for the holidays fell through and she's stuck in the most Christmassy town in America? Everything changes when she meets a quiet writer struggling to get his new children's story published while they're at a mutual friend's holiday party and get pressured under the mistletoe through crazy circumstances and a little help from a department store Santa Claus. She soon discovers that Christmas isn't Christmas without someone you love.
You realize that every single one of these
has already been made?
There is a Christmas. There's a formula.
No, these are all unique new concepts. No. They're scheduled for late 2018 Christmas season. Yeah. In fact, there's one starring Brooke Shields and Seth Green.
Okay, just stop right there. just don't, do not. Because Brooke Shields would never bring herself to that.
You don't want to hear where Brooke Shields is the spirited nanny who's unhappy because her significant other left her and she was supposed to bring him to her parents' house for Christmas, but everything changes when she meets a snarky business owner who offers her the job of her dreams while they're both involved in a funny mix-up at a coffee shop through crazy circumstances and a little help from a nutty couple in the same situation. But she soon discovers that the love and Christmas joy the right person can bring.
So, it's one thing to say that Hallmark has lots of Christmas movies, but I'm looking at this going, the list of franchise Hallmark Christmas movies is long. And
okay, well,
they have a series that has 12 movies in one of their series of movies in their yeah. I don't watch any of these. And why watch a lot of Christmas movies? Granted, the vast majority of the Christmas movies we watch every year are the various versions of A Christmas Carol. But that's because we like A Christmas Carol.
What about the one starring Tiffany and Mario Lopez? You know, where Tiffany...
I get it. The true meaning of Christmas, fall in love, blah, 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 dog and cats living together, small town, hot cocoa at a coffee shop, while Mr. Bumblefoot comes over and says, hey, you guys get married,
now, all this still
make
sounds
babies.
Much better than most of the movies we watch.
This is true.
But this is great. I'm going to break this out on Christmas Eve. Because I was thinking the other day, every Hallmark Christmas movie is basically following a formula. I mean, there are slight deviations, but they all are pretty much the same. Yes. And so with this handy dandy Hallmark movie creator, you could propose the next big Hallmark movie. You just have to pick the cast. And Mario Lopez is not in nearly enough.
I know he was in any.
Yes, he was in Handcuffed for the Holidays.
All I know is until they make a Saved by the Bell Christmas special, And I don't mean the episode where they meet the homeless girl at the mall.
Okay.
I want a Saved by the Bell reunion Christmas movie. When that happens, I will watch the Hallmark Channel 24/7.
Huh. Here you go.
In fact, here we go. I want to have the Saved by the Bell reunion. They go to the town where...
Well, here you go. You could have that, but in parts.
No,
so the cast of Saved by the Bell...
Let me finish. The cast of Saved by the Bell, but they go to a town where the evil sorceress is trying to ruin Christmas, and in comes the Power Rangers to defeat her and save the day. All the while, the Mystery Machine crew are just driving around town saying jinkies.
Well, I was just going to say, if you want to watch the Saved by the Bell Christmas specials, you can do that by watching Zach in the movie 12 Dates of Christmas, by watching Kelly in the movie North Pole, by watching Jesse in the movie Lucky Christmas, by watching Slater in the movie Holiday in Handcuffs, by watching Screech in the movie A Dog for Christmas, and by watching Mr. Belding in Up on the Rooftop.
Where's Lisa?
And by watching Violet Bickerstaff in A Carol Christmas. And Lisa and Tori are both too insane to have made any movies. Lark Voorhees, a.k.a. Lisa, has been in a couple of Christian movies, but sadly they don't include The Birth of Our Savior. She's also been in a load of relatively obscure American sitcoms, but the overlap of her storylines with the sitcom's Christmas special makes it a crappy Venn diagram. No luck so far.
What about Leah Remini, a.k.a. Stacey Carosi?
I don't think they included her.
See? Then fail. Christmas at the beach.
Is that what you want?
I want Saved by the Bell reunion. It's got to happen at the beach club. Malibu Sands. And Mr. Carosi can play Santa Claus. Well, while we're talking about Christmas movies, we do have 2 Christmas movies we're going to be reviewing later.
Yes, we do.
And I actually got Mrs. 8-Man to watch one of them with me.
I had my wife watch both with me.
Oh,
she was probably a willing participant, too.
To one of them, at least.
Okay.
I was going to say, I'm glad. I hope you picked the right one.
Yes, Mrs. 8-Man loved El Camino Christmas.
Oh, God. I did.
We'll get to it.
We'll get to it.
So, since we're on the topic of Christmas, though, let's talk about the latest crusade from the social justice warriors. Or maybe it's not. Maybe it's the politically correct movement. I don't know what you want to call it. But this thing that Mrs. 8-Man posted, actually, that I tried to chime into, which is evidently there is a movement to make Santa Claus gender neutral. Now, I don't understand how that could possibly work, since there is a Santa Claus and a Mrs. Claus. So, unless... I don't know how that would work, Mike. You're closer to the source on this than I am.
Well, first of all, I don't understand this whole... I don't know why you got to make it gender neutral.
I mean, why are we having this war on Christmas?
I don't understand it. I truly don't.
Yeah.
First we were pissing about Baby It's Cold Outside and all of the other songs that are all... Now we're getting crazy about a female or gender... First of all, this is not Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Okay? You don't need a female Santa. We have one. It's Mrs. Claus.
Mm-hmm.
Second.
She makes sure everything gets done behind the scenes. There's something noble about just that.
Second, gender neutral. Look, folks...
Is that like a Ken doll? Is that what that is? I don't know.
Let me clue people in here, okay? Because the folks that are all about this gender neutrality, fluid gender stuff, okay? Look, you're either born with a willy or a hoo-hoo, and that's what defines your gender. If you were born with neither or both, then you can be gender neutral. Otherwise, you can be transgender, I guess, if you convert, if your name is Caitlyn Jenner, you could be transgender, which is okay.
You could convert if your mindset is that of the opposite, you can. We have the technology.
Homosexuality is not a gender issue, whether you're gay or straight. That's not, you like the same gender or not, but that doesn't change you physically, If
Take it from three heterosexual males.
Wait a second.
3 heterosexual white males.
Yes, take it from 3 heterosexual middle-aged white males. We know what's good for you sexually.
Hold on, let's go down the rabbit hole for a second.
Okay, let's go.
Okay,
sure. Let's go, Mike.
If a man identifies as gender neutral or a woman identifies as gender neutral, is it possible for them to be gay?
Yes.
But being gay
because they would be
you like people of the same sex.
They would be bi, right? Would be the closest thing to describing them.
There's a whole plethora of labels that people have attached to themselves. If you would like to go through that rabbit hole, it's a very deep rabbit hole.
Well, I'm just saying though, if two people that identify as gender neutral get together, are they gay or are they straight or are they neither? Is there something new? Are they omni?
Oh my God! Now we have the terms non-binary, gender queer. I don't even know what some of these things mean.
I'm saying it's a deep rabbit hole.
Oh, thank goodness! LGBT has an A to Z dictionary. Maybe I can learn new things.
LGBTQ.
Well, I'm just going to LGBT. Well, actually, it's wearefamilycharleston.org now, but it says LGBT A through Z glossary.
As far as I go, Q actually just means other.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. They have the definition for down low and coming out, and I know what those things are.
But see,
and don't forget we have pangender. We need that one too.
Well, see, here's the thing. This is eventually, if this gender neutral thing, which what
the hell is LGBTQQIA? Boy, I can't keep all these acronyms straight.
I know. I'm only legal in Thailand. I don't know. Eventually, we're all going to be Drax. Gender neutral.
What? Xi and here. Z-I-E and H-I-R. The most common spelling for gender neutral pronouns.
No.
Xi is subjective, replaces he or she, and here or higher is possessive, and objective replaces his or her.
Just to be clear.
No, not going to use those.
I am not against anyone who choosing their own sexuality.
Yeah, no.
This has nothing to do with...
No, we're not putting anyone down.
No. I just truly do not understand the whole gender neutral thing.
But I don't think gender neutral is a label. I don't think somebody is gender neutral as that's what I identify as, for example. I don't.
Okay, but
nobody says I identify as. It means they don't want to identify what they are.
Okay, so
here's the problem. Santa Claus, the character,
yes,
has a beard.
Yes.
Have you seen Italian women?
But I'm saying, how do you? So
no,
I'm completely with you. I think
the part that I am completely with you on, Mike, is that trying to make Santa Claus gender neutral is pretty silly.
This is almost as dumb as the thing that happened here in Jersey, or New York, New Jersey, with the Holland Tunnel. Did this make the news out there?
I don't think so.
Okay. Over the toll plaza in the entryway to Holland Tunnel, it says Holland Tunnel in big letters. They put a wreath over the O, they put a tree over the U in tunnel, and they put another tree over the N.
Okay.
Petitions were started.
Separation
Campaigns
of church and state.
To move it over, to spend taxpayer money to move that tree over one, so it's over the A in Holland. This is group OCD at its finest. You have a triangle shape over the letter N with a triangle shaped letter A right next to it. Somebody's aim is wrong. They had hearings at the Port Authority, who runs the Holland Tunnel. They had hearings about moving the Christmas tree. And they finally said, you know what? We'll move it. So they're moving it.
Okay, so let's see here. I
think it has been moved. Because the picture I see has the...
I'm looking here because I was curious. Because we know Santa Claus isn't uniquely American, okay?
Okay.
It is the idea of a gift giver is worldwide.
Yeah, it is a character that has mostly been defined by Coca-Cola.
Yes. But the idea of it, so in the UK, it's called Father Christmas, definitely denotes a gender, all right? In France, Pierre Noël, all right, which is French for Father Christmas, all right? In Russia and Ukraine, it's Father Frost, and accompanied by, not Mrs. Claus, but Snow Maiden. Okay? Sweden, Tomte or Jotomen. Okay? Again, male character. Based on folklore, traditionally dwarf-like, or more like a gnome. Norway, Julnensen. Okay? Again, similar to Swedish, known as a Christmas pixie or a Christmas elf. Netherlands, Sinterklaas. All right? Dutch version of Santa Claus who resembles St. Nicholas, patron saint of children. Austria, Switzerland, and Germany. Here's where it gets a little different. Christkind or Christkindl, okay? German for Christ child is the benevolent, usually female, gift bringer who leaves presents for good children on Christmas Eve. Much like her famous counterpart Santa Claus. Okay? Lutheran, by the way. Spain, Los Reyes Magos, male figure. Finland, they have the Yule goat. All right? They don't tell me whether it's male or female goat. They just say it's a Yule goat. All right? So not even a person.
So what you're saying here is the Finns are the smartest ones.
With an animal. Iceland has Yule lads, which are 13 mischievous Icelandic elves who, instead of making toys in Santa's workshop, play tricks on children.
Don't forget, Greenwich Village has the Holiday Armadillo.
Italy has La Befana, which
that's female.
Are good-natured witch who flies around doing good, the same for good children in Italy. And then in the United States, we have Santa Claus. So, but every one of those, they said what the gender was, unless it was an animal. You know?
So Mama Blair pointed out that gender neutral can just mean not assigning gender-specific labels to laws, rules, etc. Okay, and I get that.
Yeah.
All right? My mind, and maybe I'm not interpreting this correctly, but my mind, that means if a man stabs someone and a woman stabs someone, it's still murder in either case.
Mm-hmm.
That's gender neutral.
Right.
Identifying as gender neutral. If actually, a man identifies...
I think Colin is correct. I don't think there is such a thing as identifying as gender neutral. I think it's just gender neutrality within our language.
Well, then why are teachers getting fired because they refuse to use gender-neutral pronouns when referring to students?
Because that is identification of a person, place, thing, etc., using a gender-neutral pronoun so as not to infer a gender on whom or what you're speaking about.
Their label might be something else. They're asking for themselves to be referred to in non-gender specific ways. But that's not gender neutral is not the label that they themselves would be under.
Oh my goodness, what the hell did you send me this for?
This apparently is where this came from to start with. This is a gender neutral Santa Claus in a shopping center in New Zealand. Just look at this. It's kind of just fully goes, what?
If you're not watching on the stream right now, Mike's is priceless.
Well, I ain't sleeping tonight. Hey, dream about that. Yeah. Might as well picture me in a Speedo.
To me, this is very similar to the whole PETA wanting to take animals out of different sayings.
Imagine a lamp on top of that leg.
You know, at some point, but you just gave me a great idea for next year's Christmas gifts. You know, at some point, you got to ask, am I going to wake up tomorrow and realize that this is all just a bad dream? Because it seems like every group out there is just trying to push the envelope of how much they can change something.
Everybody wants something changed or modified or whatever.
This is not the same as when I was growing up, when folks petitioned to change Easter vacation to spring break.
Yeah.
In grade school. It's not the same, okay? While at the time I thought it was a little silly, my mind as a child then was narrow. I didn't realize that it was upsetting to I didn't realize Jewish folks. Right. I figured they celebrated Easter because they came to the Easter egg hunts at the library. If you don't celebrate Easter, why are you there getting the Easter eggs? That was, my kid logic back then.
Mm-hmm.
But looking back, okay, I get it.
Maybe they like candy.
Get it. Same thing. Christmas vacation became winter break. Okay, I get it. Name it after the seasons. Okay.
Yeah.
At what point At what point do we start saying, well, Mother Nature, oh no, wait, Mother Nature's female, we can't say that. At some point, somebody's going to say we can't call it Mother Nature anymore.
That's the part I'm just like... I would say this is pretty much this is one of these things. You can't just start going around and redefining everything else. Yeah, exactly.
Alma Blair's comment.
Yeah, so many people wanting to be noticed and to feel relevant. Yeah.
To me, this comes back to what happened in that last Star Trek movie when they decided to make Sulu gay. And who was most pissed off by that? George Takei himself.
Yes.
The original Sulu. No, George Takei is famously gay. His point was...
famously.
I don't care whether you're gay or straight. You never want to be known as famously that, you know.
He is a well-known activist.
Would you say Neil Patrick Harris is famously gay as well?
Just like Ellen, yes.
Okay.
I just say it's well-known. But his thing is that the character that he played in Star Trek was not gay. But there are scenes that he was not gay. He knows the character was not gay. Just because time travel happened, that would not change the character from being straight to being gay. And so he was very unhappy with that. And I think this is very similar. You start taking existing things and you start changing it, then you're cheapening your original position in the first place.
Well, and I agree with that. I also think he was just pissed off because he felt like they had to do it. I think the message was misinterpreted. I think they were actually doing it to try and pay homage to George Takei, but instead it came off as insulting. And by the way, George Takei, who used to be one of my favorite people to follow on social media, became he became more than just an entertainer. He became a full-time activist. And I was like, okay, you got to go.
Yeah.
All right? You're pointing out everything wrong with everything at this point and just throwing an oh my at the end, and it's supposed to be cute. No.
I'll tell you what, I'm about ready to drop the rock from Instagram because I like 4 posts a day. Listen, Dwayne, get off of Instagram. Do something.
I don't even know how to use Instagram.
He hasn't seen my rant about that.
All right, let's talk about something a tad bit more uplifting.
Yes.
All right. Now, Mike, I was at your house, saw all the pups, and it made me think, well, what happens if you and Mrs. 8-Man break up? What happens to all the animals? Have you guys discussed what is now being called the pet prenup?
Okay, yes, we have. We do not have an actual pet prenup. We do not have a prenup.
Mm-hmm.
But we have had this discussion. She keeps everyone.
Okay. All the dogs,
and the
all the cats, the house.
And the house.
Yep.
I pay out the ass.
So you had a very mature discussion where you decide you take it up the pooper, and she gets everything.
The discussion is a very loose definition of what happened.
It was a one-sided conversation?
Pretty much. But on a serious note, I am going to say that this is I fully support this idea.
Yeah.
The reason being,
yeah,
I cannot tell you how many times over the last 4 years a dog or a cat has been surrendered to our rescue because the couple got divorced and neither one of them could take the pet.
Well,
or neither one wanted the pet.
Yeah, see, I think this is more of both people want it, who gets it. I think that's the purpose here, is not which one is saddled with it, but which one gets to keep it. And, unfortunately, one of the problems is this is going to have to be an agreement that has to keep being updated throughout the history of your relationship, because, like it or not, pets kind of come and go. So,
well, here's my thought on it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're adopting,
which you should adopt, don't shop.
It should be part of the adoption paperwork.
Yeah.
This way, the adoption contract is a legal binding document. Why not put it in there in the event of divorce, this party will retain ownership of the pet.
Yeah, just like really you should deal with pets in your will.
Yes. That I was gonna get to that, but yes, if you are of sound mind, you will realize when you get to a certain age, you should not be adopting.
You shouldn't get new animals when you yourself are on borrowed time.
Well, I'm going to put it this way. You need to be careful about it, all right? There have been times where I have seen pictures of elderly couples adopting kittens.
No.
And I don't understand it for the life of me, because when you look at them and you say, that kitten's going to outlive both of them. So at that point, it should be again, just like the divorce clause, there should be who is responsible for your animals should something happen to you.
Yeah. Or the same thing.
And it should be in your will.
The same thing, elderly people should think about it. Don't get a puppy. That's a lot of work. And guess what? You're not as young as you used to be. You can't necessarily, train a dog. You can't do the things that you should be doing. You can't necessarily give that dog all the exercise they want, depending upon your physical state, obviously. But you need to be careful about what you can take responsibility for. That's what fish are for. It's for old people who can't do it anymore.
Or those plastic birds.
Yes.
Or get a robot dog.
Yeah.
They have those now.
Yeah.
Or a DVD of a dog.
Or just watch cat videos when you feel like, or go over to a friend's house when you need a pet fix. That's the best thing. It gets you out of the house, blows some stink off of you, and you get to spend time with the dog.
We have a couple of volunteers that live in either a retirement home or what have they live somewhere where they can't have pets, and that's why they volunteer, so that they can come there once or twice a week and interact with the animals, and they get their fix, and it's great.
Yeah, my mom and dad, unfortunately, they had to put their dog down because it was suffering, and it was the humane thing to do. They have decided that until their lifestyle slows down, they are not going to get another animal, because it's not fair that animal has to go into, even if it's a nice, place to stay for the weekend or whatever, when they're not home, or it has to be all alone and just have somebody come in and feed it. It's not fair to the animal to do that to them. So they said, hey, until we slow down and we're not gone every weekend, we're not going to do that to an animal.
And that is the responsible thing to do. Or there was a couple that came in, I want to say it was earlier this year or late last year. They adopted this senior Labrador named Baja, and they told our director, we only adopt senior Labradors. And they may only get 4 years with them, 3 years maybe, but that's what they do.
Yeah.
And I've seen the updates. I am jealous of this dog's life.
Leading it pretty good, huh?
She's living in a penthouse in Manhattan, traveling, going to rooftop bars and stuff.
Oh, jeez.
More of a hipster than half the hipsters that I know. But that's their calling. And they're not older. They're maybe my age, but that's their calling. That's what they do. So my point there is, maybe don't get a puppy. Maybe get a senior. That's a little easier to take care of.
Yeah. Although if you are a senior to the point where you can't take care of a puppy, maybe don't get a senior dog either. That's not a...
Well, that's true. I mean, yeah, that's true.
They're going to be a lot of work.
Now, I don't want to tell people, no, you shouldn't have a companion, period. But you got to be smart about it.
Yeah.
That's...
Now, there is a related story to pets that I just posted up because it just got announced recently. Ford. So some of the Ford vehicles have noise-canceling technology. So they've created a prototype dog bed that has noise-canceling technology built into it. So that dogs can, because dogs can hear better than we can. So the idea is that if you have this dog bed where they can, sleep in it and not get woken up by all the noise, that'd be good for the dogs.
And that makes sense. I kind of, I could see that being useful for dogs that get anxiety.
Yeah, they're saying something like, especially like if there's fireworks going off, or if you're in a house next to a busy road.
Now, Mike, I just saw this article when I was speaking about dogs when I was eating this evening. But did you see about this officer who he was in the canine unit and his dog had reached the age at which they retire them from the canine unit. And instead of most officers taking that dog home, letting it lead the good life in retirement, he surrendered it to a shelter.
That is one of the most dangerous things I've ever heard of.
It's not right for the dog, who's been trained to do a job, who did its job, and is now officially retired from the force and is supposed to be relaxing. And luckily, someone was made aware of this, and then the police department, who the officer belonged to was made aware of it, and they have actually removed this officer from the canine unit and stuck him in a squad car. He's no longer allowed with the canines, and someone else has adopted this dog out, and in fact, it was the trainer of the dog who adopted this dog out of the shelter and is making sure that the dog is being taken care of in its later years.
Yeah, I mean, there was a movie about this, but I've known canine officers who, when their partner retired, they adopted them.
Yeah,
because there's that kind of bond. This guy had no business being a canine officer.
No, I mean, he worked with this dog for 9 years. How do you not establish a bond with an animal you're with for 9 years? I don't get that.
Yeah. Luckily, when I was first seeing the story that on Shaggy's screen over there, I was thinking of like an actual dog who was sent off to attack people. So this was a narcotics unit dog. So it was a smell dog, not an attack dog.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
So I was like taking an attack dog and dropping it at a shelter, and someone like doesn't know and says the wrong word, and the dog attacks everybody. It's like, oh. Anyway, so I was not quite as terrible as I was thinking, but still terrible.
Yeah. No. So this one, like I said, what was interesting was that like I said, the police department responded, but not only does the police department post about graduating dogs into their canine program, but they also announce and celebrate dogs that are retiring. And this was one of the dogs that was talked about retiring, and I thought that was kind of nice. We talk all the time about police officers retiring and things like that, and they should be celebrated and, thanked for their efforts. But it's nice to see that the animals that are also part of that team are getting their time as well. So, getting their recognition.
Now, the other side that upsets me about these stories, anytime there's a case of, this where the dog was put in a shelter or animal abuse and, they found this dog in a bag on the side of the road. You'll see the stories on Facebook, and you'll see 700 people. I would give that dog a home. I want to adopt that dog, blah, blah, blah. Okay, only one of you is going to adopt.
Mm-hmm.
May not even be you. But all y'all who are saying you want a dog, go to your shelter, local shelter, and adopt one.
Yeah.
Don't just adopt one because it's famous.
Yeah.
I keep every so often, I think on the Colbert show, he brings on these puppies. They're up for adoption in New York. And every time I watch that, I'm thinking, it's like, if you want these, go to the shelter. And I'm thinking, I hope these dogs, the puppies that they're showing on national television, I'm hoping that those are dogs that already have someone who's adopting them so that they don't have 20,000 people mobbing them trying to get the dog simultaneously. Because that's scary.
Well, I know even that doesn't always... I don't know about national television, but I know that, when they bring the dogs out to radio station events and things like that, it doesn't always work to get the animal adopted. I was listening to a radio show, and they had the local shelter had brought out one of their animals, and like 3 days after the event, that dog still hadn't been adopted yet. And it was kind of funny because the radio DJ actually had kind of fallen in love with the dog, but already had plenty of dogs at home, and was trying to talk himself out of getting this dog. But then his wife's like, "Oh, go ahead, we can handle one more, even though we have 3 children under 5, as well as a menagerie." So he did end up going and getting that dog. So I mean, it doesn't always work to get just because the dog gets publicity. But yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. So, and the idea being that if you get them in the shelter to see that dog, maybe they find another dog that they like as well. So getting people into the shelter, Mike, I'm sure you can agree with, is part of the big thing.
Oh yeah.
Once you get them in, it's a lot easier to get them with something that they can form a bond with than if you got to try and pull them on off the street.
I'm hoping when they do show up, they have dogs to show them, but the dog that they saw on television is already gone.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I don't even want to. It's another rabbit hole you probably don't want to go down with me, because I'm pretty sure I know. Well, let me just ask this: he says the name of the shelter, right?
Yes.
It's not North Shore Animal League, is it?
Yeah, I think so.
North Shore Animal League is notorious for having truckloads of dogs brought up from the south to fill their shelter. And a lot of times they show puppies. They take the puppies, but they leave the mom.
Yeah.
And oh God. All right.
Moving on.
Move on before I blow a gasket.
Moving on. So probably the last topic before we get into our movie reviews. Let's see here. We can either talk Sesame Street or Elizabeth Dushko.
We got to talk about Eliza Dushku.
Okay.
Because this
seems a bit extreme. Just reading what I've read.
Yeah.
So, the headline: CBS paid Eliza Dushku $9.5 million after she alleged Michael Weatherly sexually harassed her on set of Bull. Now, that was a very hard headline for me to swallow because, now granted, I don't know Michael Weatherly personally. Mike, I don't know whether your cousin has introduced you to yet. I mean, but
Michael, no. Eliza, yes.
Okay. So, it was difficult for me to think that Michael Weatherly would do that. So you read on, and evidently, so Elizabeth Dushko was supposed to be a recurring character on Bull. But in between filming, or in between takes, Michael Weatherly made a joke referring to something that he saw in the script, and it was an off-color joke, and even and I guess later on, she said, hey, that joke was offensive, and I didn't appreciate it, or something to that effect. And according to Weatherly, he said that he apologized immediately when she said that it was not his intention to make her uncomfortable, and that he recognized now that it was inappropriate and that it wasn't funny, and that he wouldn't do it again. Okay? Well, she took it up the ladder and evidently was continuing to take it up the ladder even though he had apologized. And so executives at CBS decided, hey, let's just pay her money and we'll write her off the show, because that's what they do. They want to keep the cast and the crew working without conflict. Okay? So now I don't know how many episodes she was going to be in. I don't know if it was a multi-season deal or what, but they paid her $9.5 million to write her out of the script. That seems like a lot for being offended by what appears to be one single instance of a couple of bad jokes.
Right. So I think what's going on here is that this is less about Michael Weatherly and more about what was happening at CBS at the time.
You think it's more about the environment there and the attitude?
You think that this was influenced by the Les Moonves situation, right?
Because what I've read in some of these other stories is that there's all this money. Apparently, Les Moonves was personally involved with that negotiation, which tells me that, yes, something happened to Michael Weatherly. He apologized. She complained. And CBS overcompensated for the complaint and ended up kicking her off the show, basically. She was supposed to have a permanent role on the show, but because of this, I was uncomfortable with this, then suddenly she's off the show completely.
Okay, so maybe there's two things happening here. The first is the environment created by Les Moonves and all the allegations against him.
Yep.
And this could have been basically like almost a breach of contract kind of thing where, okay, this is what you would have been paid if you were on the show. We're just going to pay you and write you out.
Yeah, that's what they said it was.
The network says the settlement of these claims reflects the projected amount that the actress would have received for the balance of her contract as a series regular and was determined in a mutually agreed upon mediation process at the time. So she agreed to the amount that they paid based upon the projected amount that she was supposed to be paid, And Weatherly offered an apology. During the course of the taping of our show, I made some jokes mocking some lines of the script. When Eliza told me that she wasn't comfortable with my language and attempted humor, I was mortified that I have offended her and immediately apologized. After reflecting on this further, I better understand that what I said was both not funny and not appropriate, and I'm sorry and regret the pain this caused Eliza. So just to be clear, the action is not what defined the $9.5 million.
Right. It's the reaction from CBS.
The
$9.5 million was was set based on her contracted amount. not...
If she had become the regular that she was supposed to become on the show, and the show lasts as long as they expect it to go, then that's how much she would have made acting on the show.
Now, Weatherly said that he hadn't asked for her to be fired. It's his recollection that he didn't tell anyone how they should be doing their job regarding the hiring or firing of anyone. And there's the joke in reference is a reference to a rape van. Okay, now where that comes into context here, because you need context to make that make sense. Because you go, where the hell did that come from, right? The scripted line in the scene was, "Hey, young lady, step into my windowless van." Weatherly said, "I didn't particularly like that line, so I joked in order to highlight how distasteful the emphasis of the line was about a rape van, so that's where it came from. It was derived from a line in the script, and I don't disagree with him that, if you want to make a windowless van more distasteful, reference it as a rape van.
Yeah.
Everybody can draw that comparison pretty easy. And if I actually just say the word rape van, you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, it could have been a 3-year contract. $9.5 million for that long seems about right.
Yeah. So I think,
but I mean, the point is, she was paid off, and then she could go on and do other work and make more money.
Right. The reason this is coming up is just because it is CBS, because this Les Moonves thing is still going on.
Right, but people are calling for Weatherly to be fired, which means the show is over.
Yeah.
And I'm like, did you guys even read what the accusation was? What the point of this whole thing was?
Well, no. Who reads articles?
Because it was a joke. It was just a simple joke that he immediately apologized for when he found out that she took offense for it. I mean, I'm not usually one to jump to this conclusion, but if we can't make a simple crack at work about something, then, we're just going to be mindless drones walking through not saying anything. No, I'm not saying we're all making rape van jokes at work, but, in fact, we're very rarely making rape van jokes. I mean, that's like once a week at the most.
Anytime I make jokes at work, it's jokes at my own expense.
Yeah, traditionally they're self-deprecating.
Or like I had a conversation with my boss. I call him up. He's like, "Hey, how you doing?" I said, "Are you really going to ask? Do you want me to answer that question honestly, or are you just trying to start conversation?"
Yeah.
Because that's what the situation dictated. Now, anyway, it's funny. As soon as you start talking about rape van, I think about this thing that Jeff Dunham posted on Facebook about this 1978 van that he bought, that the guy handcrafted, all the wood interior, and there's a couch and secret compartments, and it was like a pirate themed van. And I'm thinking, okay, yeah, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Movie time!
It's time for the double feature movie review, the point at which we take two movies
movie review
that were suggested to us by YouTube or Amazon Prime Movies or any of the other free streaming services.
In case of one of the movies, apparently everybody in existence.
Yes. This time, since it is our Christmas episode, we decided to take two Christmas-themed movies, one of which is truly Christmas-themed. The other one is as Christmas-themed as Die Hard.
No. Die Hard is a much better Christmas movie.
I said it was as Christmas themed.
I'm saying, is it even as Christmas themed as Die Hard?
Okay, so the movies we had this evening were the Santa Chronicles and El Camino Christmas. Now, I did not...
the Santa Chronicles or the Christmas Chronicles?
The Christmas Chronicles. My apologies. It's the Christmas Chronicles. I keep saying the wrong words.
It's okay.
So yeah, it's the Christmas Chronicles and El Camino Christmas. So... the question is, I did not write my review this week because I was too sick. But I'll go first if you guys don't mind, just as soon as I make it up. I'm just getting a list of actors here so that I can reference them. All right, so...
which one are we starting with?
We'll start with... do we want to start with the worst one?
Let's get rid of the worst.
Okay, so we're going to talk about... El Camino Christmas. Now, El Camino Christmas is a real conundrum of a movie because I have never seen a movie that has more star power and uses it so poorly. All right, Dax Shepard, Kurtwood Smith, or Rhett Foreman, if you're familiar with that 70s show, Luke Grimes, Emilio Rivera, Kimberly Quinn, Cooper Thornton, Vincent D'Onofrio, Jessica Alba. All right, there's a lot of big names in this thing. Okay,
and yes, you didn't say Tim Allen.
Tim Allen. I thought I said Tim Allen, but actually not on the list. It's first billed only. Why the hell isn't Tim Allen in the first billing?
It's probably in order of appearance.
Ugh, stupid. Tim Allen. Oh, he's right there. So the question is, with this huge cast of characters, I mean, Dax Shepard, great, very funny. Kurtwood Smith can be very funny, dry humor. All right. Tim Allen, you're thinking this is going to be a laugh a minute. Really? Tim Allen plays an alcoholic Vietnam veteran, which is the biggest departure from anything you've ever seen Tim Allen in. That just warps your entire being for the full length of the movie. Okay? Because to have this concept of the guy who killed Santa Claus and then became Santa Claus, and went, rah, more power, all right, suddenly drinking a fifth of Jack Daniels and who knows how many beers, and still being able to stand somehow, it's just amazing to see him stretch his actor wings like that, okay? Meanwhile, Dax Shepard plays Dax Shepard, all right? He plays the same character he always plays, and my wife goes, where do I know him from? And I said, well, you've seen him in Chips. And she goes, oh, I love him. Okay. Because my wife watched this movie with me. So we have a small town, a father and son reunion, a impossible small town cop story, and all this while still also looking at a mother and disenfranchised son. Okay? This story has so many layers, it's like an onion. And you're going to end up crying. The biggest surprise is at the end, though. So make sure you don't stop it at any point. All right? It's absolutely incredible what happens at the end. Not since the movie where it was Antonio Banderas' Security, I think is what it was, where he was a mall security cop. Have we seen an ending like this? That's all I'm going to say. All right. So for my money, this movie gets a meh. Because it's not horrible. It's just not anything. All right, Colin.
You managed to pretty much finish with my exact feelings on this movie. This movie is described officially as a black comedy.
What? Black comedy?
Black comedy.
That's racist! There wasn't even a black guy in there!
Not African-American comedy. But black comedy is in grim and dim and...
They could call it dark comedy.
I was going to say, why can't it just be dark?
Okay, we'll go with dark comedy.
Yeah.
But still, regardless of the first word you stick on there, the problem is the second word.
Comedy?
Is that this is supposed to be a comedy. There's no comedy here. This is the least comedic movie okay, here is my biggest problem with this movie.
Uh-huh.
There's no El Caminos in this movie.
The town is called
If I'm going to watch a movie called El Camino Christmas, I'm expecting an El Camino with a Christmas tree in the back.
The town is called El Camino.
It doesn't matter.
The kid could have been driving an El Camino instead of the Chevelle.
Exactly.
Okay.
If they had at least one El Camino in the movie, then at least I'd be able to say there's an El Camino and El Camino and El Camino Christmas. What does this movie have to do with Christmas? It has nothing to do with Christmas. Apparently, this movie has been in the works for 10 years. You would think that if you're writing a script for a movie for 10 years, that you might write a good script, especially with this cast. I mean, Vincent D'Onofrio is an amazing actor. Tim Allen is an actor. But between the two of them, I expect a good-ish movie. I don't know. It's a total meh movie. And it's just because I got to the end of the movie, and my mom, because I was watching this at my parents' house, and my mom wasn't there. And so she gets back from wherever she was, and she asks, so what happened to the movie? And I just kind of stared at her, like, what did just happen in this movie?
Somebody indexed every car in the movie. So you have an AM General M35, a 2000 Ford Focus, a 2000 Ford Ranger, a 72 Chevelle Malibu, an 02 Dodge Ram, a 97 Honda Prelude, an International 4000 Series, an 03 Ford Crown Vic, an 06 Crown Ford Vic, a Jeep Patriot, a 13 Ram 1500, a 95 Ford Ecoline, a 2011 Ford Edge, an 88 Toyota Corolla, a 2010 Toyota Prius 3, and a 95 Ford Explorer.
But no El Caminos.
No El Caminos.
Eh.
All right, so here,
They went through that.
here's a guess. All right. If someone eats a Nicorette lozenge and then lights a cigarette immediately after, it's a safe bet they're going to die. Jessica Alba is sitting there eating. It took me a minute. I had to go back and watch a second time. She's eating baby carrots dipped in peanut butter.
Oh, those are good.
But then we see she's pregnant, so it makes sense. Don't you dare don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Don't carrots and peanut butter, cheese.
Oh, it's super sweet.
There's a back window in the guy's liquor mart. He said, "There's a back window, but you're not going to fit through it." Fails to mention a big ass iron bar. It just says the window's too small. Ain't nobody fitting through that. And Dax Shepard, there's definitely 4 or 5 folks in there. Maybe. Definitely, maybe. That's great detective work right there. But yes, it's typical Dax Shepard. But that's also why I don't trust small town law folk. And Kurtwood Smith with the line of the movie, "You're not Samuel F. Jackson." This leads me to believe that there's an addendum to the SLJ clause in movies that saying his name requires the dropping of some derivative of the F-bomb. Smoking by the gas pump. Same guy that did the nicotine tango earlier. Oh, yeah, he gonna die. At this point, I'm just wondering how long it's going to take Tim Allen to own up to being the kid's father, because that's really all I'm watching for at this point. There's no other reason. I just want to see what point in the movie and just how much can Tim Allen's character drink. Let's count, shall we? While he was in the liquor mart, he had no less than a 6-pack of beer, had a half a bottle of Jack, if not more, plus whatever he drank at the bar, plus 3 or 4 swigs off that bottle of Hornitos tequila. Colin, it's ironic that you described this movie as a total meh because I gave it a meh as well, which means the 3 of us gave it a meh, so it literally is a total meh. This movie, I feel like if this movie had been called anything else without Christmas in the title and El Camino, if it had any other title, they could have called it Gas Station Farts, and it would have gotten a higher rating.
Yeah.
Okay? I kind of feel like Netflix just had this movie sitting in the vault, and somebody came running into an executive's office and said, "We don't have a Christmas movie to put out this year. What do we got? Tim Allen. Tim Allen played Santa Claus. We got that Tim Allen movie, right? El Camino Christmas. Go." That's how I feel like this one came to be, for no other reason than that.
And then they remembered, oh, wait, we did have another Christmas movie.
Well, no, because this came out last year. This came out well before Christmas.
I thought it was made in 2017.
No, because this was on the list.
Oh, it's been on the list from, okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
This has been on the list for a while. So,
So to go with that narrative then, last year this is what they had. And so they realized they had to fix things for this year.
yes. And instead of spreading the wealth and hiring multiple A-list actors or A-minus list actors, they hired one.
So they needed.
Which brings us to the Christmas Chronicles. All right. The Christmas Chronicles was suggested by no less than 5 people before we decided that it needed to be on our must-watch list this time around. Okay? According to the synopsis, the story of sister and brother Kate and Teddy Pierce, whose Christmas Eve plan to catch Santa Claus on camera turns into an unexpected journey that most kids could only dream about. All right, this whole story is these 2 kids, Judah Lewis and Darby Camp, all right, which is Teddy and Kate. Teddy is the older brother who is mad at the world because his dad, the firefighter, presumably died in the line of duty, leaving them alone for what is Christmas. His dad loved Christmas, and so now he just hates it, basically. Hates life, hates mom, hates the sister, hates everything, is going out of his way to be a real jerk. Okay. The sister, however, Kate, is your typical, 10-year-old or so. Still knows Santa comes every day because obviously everybody knows Santa is real. But relives all the good times through this old camera. And while she's reviewing it, sees, hey, there's an arm that could only be Santa Claus. So after seeing her brother commit grand theft auto and filming it, decides that she's going to blackmail him to help her catch Santa Claus, which they do. Then they almost ruin Christmas. Then they fix it. and then life is good. That's the whole movie. I mean, I'm not ruining anything here. It's a Christmas movie. Everything's going to end up okie dokie, in the end. The last thing you're going to hear is that's when Krampus comes and slices off Kris Kringle's head. All right? That's just not going to happen in a good Christmas movie. So, but what is fun is every time in every Christmas movie when Santa Claus goes to jail. All right? Inevitably, in every Christmas movie that stars Santa Claus, he ends up in jail. There's a great Santa jail scene in this movie. You don't want to miss it. Hookers become chorus girls. It's a great. They got some great, cameos in there. Life is great. And Kurt Russell plays an amazing Santa Claus, mostly because hair and makeup didn't have to do a whole lot on him. Because that is his hair, that is his beard. They didn't actually do any makeup effects. He grew it out for the movie.
Oh, wow.
So, not only that, but if you watch Instagram at all, I'm not ruining anything, but not his wife, because they were not married, but his lifelong partner plays Mrs. Claus, and they made one of the world's best Christmas cards together. And put it up on Instagram. Mike, did you happen to see that?
I did not.
At all? Hold on a second, and I will pull it up, actually. Come on. Maybe I will let me see if I can just find it here this way. Goldie. Here we go. So, yeah, they took one of the best photos. Oops, come on, get in up there. There we go. That's not even the right photo. Damn it. Get to the right photo. There we go. So that is their Christmas card photo.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, that tells you who is Mrs. Claus. It's Goldie Hawn. Sorry if I ruined it for people, but most people could probably figure that out.
As soon as you heard the voice, you knew.
Yes. Yeah, you did. And what was funny was the accompanying text that said, I never thought I'd be sleeping with Santa Claus. So, what?
See, I knew it.
What? Oh, okay. He may have had some additions, but I mean, for the most part, it was a lot of him, though. I don't know. I was going off of what my wife told me, okay?
No, I knew his mustache was probably the same because it looked very similar to a longer version of what he had in Tombstone.
Yeah. So, but he did an amazing job. By the way, he was also voted the sexiest Santa of all the Santas.
It's because The Rock didn't get dressed up as Santa Claus.
He just,
that prick.
Yeah. The Rock will play Santa next year in something. You know it's going to happen. Because Kurt Russell beat out Tim Allen. Tim Allen was the previous sexiest Santa. Now it's Kurt Russell. Now it's just going to be Beefcake Santa. Which, by the way, I loved all the jokes about marketing and everything in this thing. It's a great movie. This one gets a smile. It doesn't get a shnikes, because I don't think Christmas movies get shnikes, but this gets a smile from me. All right, Colin, your turn.
So, I originally watched this on Thanksgiving, and when the movie... Okay, here is my number one pet peeve of a Christmas movie, okay? Dead parent, where the movie decides that it's okay to kill a parent and then bring a parent back, okay? So let's just get this out of the way for people who have the same pet peeve. Does not happen in this movie. You are safe. This is not a Santa Claus brings back the dead parent movie. Yay. Kurt Russell is definitely one of the best Santa Clauses. It's what's great is that he plays a Santa Claus that isn't the jolly, everything's happy kind of thing. He plays an actual person. I don't know if that person is the right word to use for Santa Claus, but he's a fully realized character who feels like someone who could actually exist.
Person is an acceptable gender-neutral term. Thank you.
The best example I could give for other movies is Ed Asner and Elf. In that, it's not the Santa Claus.
It's not
movie
the over-the-top caricature of the image of Santa.
I think it's Santa Claus the movie where it's a very happy Santa the entire time. This is they feel like actual people. The one criticism I will give the movie is I thought the scene in front of the church was pretty stupid. I mean, if you're going to tag a church at all in a movie about Christmas that is 100% non-religious through the entire thing, don't have that scene. Either go into the church and have a church scene, or don't have the scene at all. Don't stand outside of a church with a non-specific carol. I don't forget what a carol it is, but it doesn't matter. it's a non-religious carol being played inside the church. It's just a stupid scene. Don't put it in there. Just go ahead. Like I said, go one way or the other. Anyway, my entire family was watching this movie, and as we were watching the movie, we realized, we started off like, okay, we're gonna watch this. It's Thanksgiving. We usually watch a Christmas movie. We will endure watching this movie. And as we watched the movie, we liked the movie more and more and more. And by the end of it, it's like this movie is now permanently on our yearly Christmas watching list. And I think by definition, that makes it a Schnackis.
Cool.
Okay, so before I start, I don't think so.
No, Schwarzenegger didn't play Santa. He played Turbo Man.
Well, he dressed as Turbo Man.
Yeah.
He may have dressed as Santa at some point, but anyway. I have to say that my favorite portrayal of Santa Claus is Billy Bob Thornton in Bad Santa and Bad Santa 2. But that's neither here nor there. So this was the movie that Mrs. 8-Man sat and watched with me. When I said we were reviewing it, she said, yes, I did want to see that because people have been talking about it. Her commentary was actually quite interesting. And because I watched this with her, I don't have my typical bullet point notes about it. We actually sat in the living room and watched it. My expectations actually were a little low in the beginning. I felt like it took a little too long to get into the Santa story. I felt like there was a little bit too much backstory with the kids and the parent. The mom, who actually I pointed out was the daughter in the Father of the Bride movies. So we're watching this. The first scene that I get a reaction from Kim is the reindeer scene where she tames the reindeer. And I was very happy to see that the reindeer were actually portrayed as animals, not some character like they were in the Santa Claus where they had these stupid personalities and tried to talk and what have you. They were animals. Okay. The elves. The elves were one of the things that made this movie great. I loved how the elves, they weren't played by kids like they were in the Santa Claus, which was okay. They made them actual like elfish creatures, which I thought really, really added to the story of Santa. Kurt Russell, yes, awesome actor. He is one of my favorite actors of all time. The only way he could have done Santa Claus better is if he threw a little Jack Burton in to give Santa a little bit more of an edge. I can't say that I would go and watch this every year. It was a good movie, but there were a couple of things about it that just kind of, I don't know. One of the things Kim mentioned right off the bat was he's not riding around in a sleigh. That's a rocket ship. Okay, that's true. I mean, I get you're going to stretch from the truth or stretch a little bit, or you put your own twist on things, but there are some standards that kind of have to remain. And why is it that none of these Santa movies have Rudolph as a reindeer?
Because Rudolph only exists in Rudolph.
Okay, but everybody knows Rudolph led, so would have been a nice touch to have a Rudolph there.
Rudolph is a copyrighted character.
Oh, see? Well, now I know. I figured you were going to chime in with the reason. I knew if anybody was going to know, it would be this guy right up here. Him, he knows. So I gave this, Kim and I both gave this a big smile. It's definitely one of the better Christmas movies of the modern era. And by that, I mean, I'm not trying to compare it to any of the classics. I would rate it higher, not quite as high as the Santa Claus, the original one, but I would slot it before either of the sequels. Because I don't care about the Mrs. Claus and I don't care about the Exit Claus. So we both gave this a solid smile, maybe bordering on Nikes.
Cool. Now, Shaggy, I think you also watched it with your wife. What did she say?
She liked it. In fact, she's watched it like 3 times more. But that's not uncommon for her. She's one of those, you find a movie that you like and you stick with it. Yeah. No matter what it takes. So, yeah.
So here's the question that I would ask of you two. Mm-hmm. If they announced that they were going to make a sequel, say, not the same kids, just some other story with the same Santa Claus and elves and stuff, do you think that's a good idea?
Oh, no.
No.
Why?
But they're going to do it.
No. Just curious.
Oh, I hope not.
Oh, I forgot. My favorite Santa is not, well, no, Billy Bob Thornton. A close second is Lee Majors as Santa.
Oh.
From Scrooged.
Yeah.
And Mama Blair just sent a picture. I guess the cover of the DVD for Jingle All the Way shows Arnold Schwarzenegger in a Santa suit.
Yeah, but he's not actually. I don't think he's there in the movie.
I think he dressed as Santa at one point to try and like infiltrate something, but I don't remember him playing Santa.
Yeah, I don't think he was.
I'll tell the truth. I've actually purposefully never seen.
That's actually not. It's not a bad movie. Jingle All the Way is actually pretty funny, especially if you like Sinbad.
I've seen scenes, but I've never sat down and watched the entire.
No, I've watched that several times, and it's not a bad movie.
But see, here's the thing: dressing as Santa in a movie is different than playing Santa in a movie.
Yeah, he's definitely never played the Santa character.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm concerned that The Rock is going to get some ideas and try and be the people's Santa or some bullshit.
Okay.
Oh yeah, because here we go. He could look like that.
Oh Christ.
Or we could have him in a sweater like that.
No, he won't be in a sweater because Under Armour is going to have to make his.
Have to make a suit. Oh, there you go, right there. Yep.
Okay.
All
right. So on the list we've got 38.
Okay. 1 to 38 it is. 17.
Okay, let's see. Still available.
Which, by the way, so I put a TV in my garage now and a Fire Stick.
Fun, because apparently I've never signed into Netflix with this browser. Special Correspondence is it's a Netflix original, so it's probably Oh God,
it's a Ricky Gervais movie. Ricky Gervais and Eric Bana.
Wonderful.
Yes, and Kevin Pollak is in it.
Oh, that'll make it.
And Benjamin Bratt.
We're so screwed. We're all over the map.
It's TVMA, so it's not even. Yeah, that one's gonna be fun.
Okay, and next
21 Blackjack.
No.
What?
I have a problem with this one.
Okay, what?
Please, God, don't let it be available.
What is it, Joysticks 2? More joystickier?
Yes! It's not available anymore.
What was it?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows.
Oh, good. Oh, was that the new one?
Yeah.
This is the other reason I had a problem with it because, one, it was a real movie.
Yeah.
And two, that would mean I'd probably have to watch the first one because this was a sequel.
Come on, you couldn't figure it out? All right, let's do it again. 22.
Okay, this one is available. Mythica, A Quest for Heroes.
It's a sci-fi one, if I remember correctly.
Yes, and I don't like the fact that this is the first of a series.
It is the first of a series. It's a good thing that we're doing the first one first.
You know something?
That's in English.
It is in English. A young magician, Merrick, dreams of escaping her drab life and taking on exciting adventures. When she meets the help-seeking priestess, Taylor, she offers her assistance and assembles a motley troupe. Together they go in search of Taylor's sister, who was kidnapped by a wild ogre. It's got Kevin Sorbo in it. I think that's why I picked it. Because it has Kevin. Now watch. He'll probably be in it for 2 minutes at the end.
He'll probably just be like, "Hi, I'm Kevin Sorbo. I played Hercules." Or he's going to be like,
I saw news that
because his name's in bigger print. Kevin Sorbo and Melanie Stone, Mythica, A Quest for Heroes. So you know he's barely in it.
There's 5 of these damn movies.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce Willis has signed a contract to do 3 movies with MoviePass. So I'm assuming
what?
3 more movies. That
they can't afford for people to watch movies, but they're affording Bruce Willis.
What all they're gonna do is stick his face on the poster and have him show up for like 20 seconds. That's pretty much his career at the moment. That and showing up in M. Night Shyamalan movies.
Kevin Sorbo, who plays one of the roles in the film, said about the project Mythica, a movie like The Lord of the Rings, where I play someone like Gandalf.
That's what we expect from Kevin Sorbo. Scintillating information. Oh, this movie is a copy. I play a copy.
But, like Gandalf, he'll be in the beginning and the end of the movie, and we won't see him anywhere in the middle.
Yeah, but more importantly, Kevin Sorbo is no Ian McKellen. That's what it comes to.
He'll be Kevin the White.
Actually, if he's a copy of Gandalf, he's Kevin the Straight. Okay.
All right, folks. You've been listening to PTR Radio. Thank you for tuning in.
Hold on. I got to...
Yeah, what?
So, the UPS store apparently tweeted something. I'm just going to read this. If your child addresses a letter to the North Pole, you can leave it with us. We do shredding.
Oh, no. That's not cool.
Wow.
That's not cool, man. We have a North Pole drop-off box downtown for us. You can take letters for Santa, and there's a particular North Pole. It's not a USPS mailbox, but it's a red one downtown. Yep.
Yeah, we just don't advertise to it.
Yep. So, with that said, you've been listening to PTR Radio here on the Fabulous Interweb. Thank you so much. Don't forget you can check out the website, ptrradio.com. Click on the banner to register your celebrity death pool picks. Don't forget to also get your friends to sign up. We are going to extend that sign up through till the 7th, but till I believe we said 8 a.m. on the 7th, Mike, is what we decided. But
yeah.
But don't wait till the end, please. Go ahead and get your picks in now. And really, I mean, I don't have anything coming up anytime soon. I've got some stuff in February, but I don't want to advertise it this early. Which I've already told some people about it, and they said they will come out and say hi. So I actually have people for that event, because it's being advertised, but I'm not advertising me being there yet. So, but other than that, we'll be back on the 7th. We may have a New Year's Eve special. We haven't scheduled it yet. It may just be something else. Who knows?
We did last year's.
If we have a chance to record, we will. If not, we'll let you know one way or the other. But right now, my voice is about ready to give out, so who knows how long it's going to take to come back. So, thank you everybody for listening. Please have a very nice, happy, healthy, and safe Christmas Eve, day after Christmas, whatever you want to call it. We wish all of you a Merry Christmas. And with that said, I'm Shaggy.
I'm Colin.
I'm Mike the Ape Man.
Wishing you and yours a very happy season. Thank you.